Okay, here's another question. Proteins and polysaccharides are polymers. These polymers are formed by dehydration synthesis. Which statement correctly identifies a difference in the structure of proteins and polysaccharides? Remember, we're gonna cover up our answers. We're not gonna get ahead of ourselves. We're gonna look at the question and we're gonna write down what we know. Okay. So it's a long question and it has a lot of terms. It has proteins on there, it has polysaccharides, it has polymers, dehydration, synthesis, again polysaccharides. So a lot of words, that are big and might be confusing or intimidating. But before you give up and just circle anything, think back. Poly. Even if in algebra, poly means a lot or many. Many or a lot. Saccharide is like a sugar. Polymers, there are long chains of something. So notice what I'm doing. I don't know exactly what these words mean. I'm just kind of remembering what I remember from the class. Polymers, long chains, dehydration, no water. Like when the coach might say, hey, you're dehydrated, you don't have any water. And so proteins, those are organic molecules. Okay, so organic molecules and this long chain of sugar, they're polymers. So they're both proteins and polysaccharides are long chains. They are formed by dehydration synthesis. Which statement correctly identifies a difference in the structure? And structure is the way something looks of proteins and polysaccharides. So you're looking at the difference between proteins and polysaccharides. Okay? That's all the question is asking you. Which statement correctly identifies a difference in the structure of proteins and polysaccharides? Letter F. Only polysaccharides are comprised of repeating units of cytosine, adenine, guanine, and thymine. These words right here are super important in biology, and you should know right away that they have something to do with DNA. Okay, so that's probably not going to be an answer. Letter G. Only proteins are formed from amino acids joined by peptide bonds. Well, we're not really sure about that, so I'm going to put another question mark. See what I'm doing? I'm going one by one. Only polysaccharides can be folded and twisted to very specific shapes. Notice this, only polysaccharides. But proteins can also be twisted into specific shapes. So that's not an answer. Letter J. Only proteins can be large molecules with thousands of subunits. Well, we're comparing proteins and polysaccharides. We already know that a polysaccharide is a polymer. A polymer is a long chain. So it says only proteins can be large molecules. But we already know polysaccharide is a polymer, so this is not an answer. So now we have to choose between F and G. So F again has something to do with DNA, and none of this up here has anything to do, none of this question up here has anything to do with genetic material. So let's read G again. Only proteins are formed from amino acids joined by peptide bonds. From biology, these words and proteins should sound familiar to you. You should remember that proteins are formed from amino acids and that amino acids are joined by peptide bonds. So G is the answer. F cannot be the answer because these have something to do with DNA, and we are not talking about DNA, we're talking about proteins.